Hey everybody, what is it? It's February 26th, 23rd, 26th, February 26th. So a week from today will be Ash Wednesday. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but time for another midweek chat. How do you like my new hoodie? Got it as a gift at our trivia contest, Pilgrims of Hope. And you see that design, it's the same design we have on the banner in our church. So thoughtful gift, thanks for the giver. And yeah, wear it with happiness. Again, what did we say the logo was? Humanity in all its diversity, different colors, and they're clinging to the cross, right? And they're following one after another. They're traveling together on the to the cross, and this on the bottom of the cross is an anchor, which is a symbol of hope from the book of Hebrews. I can't come up with the quote right now. Something about anchor and is hope. And it's a little chilly. The sun just went under a cloud. I do have a coat if I need to put it back on. But anyway, so we continue to go through Pope Francis. I think I mentioned it I think I wrote about it in the bulletin for this weekend. He talk about his health in just a second, but he wrote probably before his hospitalization. He took time to write a Lenten message to everybody throughout the world, and trying to remember, it had to do with the journey and pilgrim, right? So I think he had the Jubilee year in mind when he wrote it, but that life is a journey, and that we journey together, and that we journey with hope. Those are kind of the three sections of his I think we all know that we have to kind of take care of our business, and we have Ash Wednesday. We look at our sins, and there's an individual element to spirituality and our journey. But I do think our corporate. I think what I liked about the Pope's letter is the group that we journey together. So important. It's so important in a Catholic tradition, especially. It's why we have all the rules, so we can try to stay unified. And I just think it gets underplayed. When we think about going to heaven, we usually think about, am I going to make it, or did I sin too much, or did I get? And there's I've heard other people talk, very inspiring in my mind, that that we're saved together. We're not just saved as me and you. Hope you get there. I'm going to try my best to get there. Hope you get there too. But let's get there. Let's get there together. So much of our worship is togetherness and communion and Eucharist. And I really have found actually the richest prayer time for me lately has been praying for others. I would say in the past, it's been more like just my individual relationship with Christ, or trying to come to some individual experience of intimacy with God. But I felt really tied lately in praying for others. But that's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. Not that I should ignore my own relationship with God, but and my tendency, honestly, is I'm pretty self-centered, and so maybe that's why I find it so important and good and healthy to keep those others in mind. We have a great prayer chain in our parish at St. James, so if you ever want to get on that train, hop on. There's plenty of room. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing that we have. Emails go out now. Flock notes will go out. So I got a bunch of parish news. I had just a lot to talk about today. Most of it's parish news, but I'm probably jumping around. I hope I don't miss anything too important. I want to talk about the Pope. Let's just talk flock notes. If you want to join the prayer chain, for example, I think you were always getting an email, and now you'll still get an email if you want one, but it'll come through this flock note. So last Sunday morning, we had people bring their phones and text to a number with the James EC in the message, and then you were kind of basically signed up for flock note. And I'm sure, like any change, you'll have some growing pains, but just a more efficient, streamlined way of communicating with the parish. And it's not to invade your privacy. It's not, and it won't. You just get messages that you want to get. And assuming you sign up, I want some parish updates on things when they come available. And if you're in things like religious ed parents or something like that. There's these subcategories, and you get those notes. I'll go through Flock Note. And if you've had trouble with it, and you got a little frustrated trying to figure it all out, Christine's just super happy to help you with it. I would too, but I'm not as, well, if I'm there, I can try to help you, but she's our kind of person giving her a lot of her life energy to this project. And she said, yeah, have them call me. If you can't do it you can do it without a phone. If you don't have a cell phone, you can get it through emails. If you're having trouble, you can call Christine at the office. You can, we're going to put a clipboard out on the table, the 11th Street entrance this weekend, and you can write your name if you'd like. I'd like help with this parish communication thing we call Flock Note. I think it's called Flock Note because the sheep, the flock, I'm a pastor, like a sheep. We take care of this flock, and so it's Flock Notes. So we'll see how it goes. I'm learning as well. I'm signed up. I think I can actually send through it, but I'm not sure how to do that yet. But hey, another parish thing that's great. We have Mickey's confirmation on Saturday. It'll be very brief. I've had a lot of baptisms at 10 o'clock Mass. Usually there's a lot of the Saturday Mass, not so many at the 8, but we had some. Seems like the last, 6 to 8 baptisms we've had, they've all been at the 10 o'clock Mass. And we have one more coming up. Should be excellent. But at 4:30, it's an adult. It's Mickey, fine man. He's one of our co-chairs for Summerfest. And he and his family will be there, and he will state his desire to be fully initiated into the Catholic Church. And it'll be a joy to do that. So we'll renew our baptismal vows, and it's actually shorter than a baptism ceremony, but it'll be great. So congratulations to Mickey. I think his witness of what he wants to do and doing it publicly will, I think, help us. And, if anybody else, maybe you went through high school and you didn't feel ready to get confirmed, or you didn't want to, or your family was mobile and you didn't have roots, we can work with you to have you experience the sacrament of confirmation. There's different avenues for that, depending on your level of, how much you know about the Bible and things like that. Church. Anyway, so that's good. We have Francesca La Rosa, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, March 7th. So St. James has been working with St. Olaf's to bring Francesca to Eau Claire. She's a composer. She has some songs in our hymnal, and she'll be actually during the day leading workshops for our pastoral musicians. And then at night, it's a free concert. I'm sure there'll be a donation basket if you'd like to give. I've heard her sing. She's got a beautiful voice, plays the piano, and I think it sounds like all the things that she will sing on Saturday will be psalms. So I think it'll be a beautiful night just to sit with somebody you like, sit with a stranger, sit alone. I might just want to sit in a corner and close my eyes and take it all in, because I think it's just going to be like a real prayerful hour of beautiful psalms set to music and a beautiful voice. So that's it's free, and it's at St. Olaf's, but it's co-produced with St. Olaf's and St. James this weekend. So 7 o'clock. Our parish mission, it's a little ways down the way, about a month from this weekend. So 4 weeks from this weekend. I'm delighted to say Pam Cernick will be with us again. She was here 2 years ago and talked about spirituality and in the face of suffering, and was really well received. I knew her from my days of Menominee. She now lives with her family up in Birchwood, and just a very genuine, down-to-earth speaker whose wisdom is born from experience and prayer. And just really delighted that she can come back and join us. So her name, the name of her presentations are Pilgrims of Hope. So it'll be good. That'll be good. So more on that as we come. And just a heads up if you don't know. So those are talks Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. And before those talks, we gather for a little simple lunch with soup and bread and some sweets, cakes and things like that, bars. It's just it's one of my favorite times of the year. It's just a very happy community time, and it's a time of spiritual enrichment, and it's what Lent should be all about, right? So we have Operation Rice Bowl. You ever heard of that? So Catholic Relief Services, I've alluded to them in the past few chats, we're discerning whether to maybe try to establish a local chapter of Catholic Relief Services in Eau Claire, maybe based at St. James. But while we're sitting on that, I thought we'd do something for and with Catholic Relief Services. So they send these, maybe you've seen the mite boxes that we promote also in our school. This would be for the parish at large. You fold it up, it makes like a little piggy bank, has some information about world hunger. So Catholic Relief Services, third world crisis situations, war situations where there's life-threatening hunger in the world, they're there. Where there's need for economic development, they're there. It's a vast, and their funding is being cut back by decisions in the administration right now. So it's just a good time to become more aware of Catholic Relief Services, what they do, and participate. And it's really the spirituality there is really good. I hope I actually do it. It's the same spirituality as like when you're a kid. It's like, I'm gonna not have this candy bar, and the 20 cents that it took I'm talking when I was a kid, the 20 cents it took to buy a candy bar, you put in that little Catholic Relief box, and then at Easter you hand it in with, there's other ways we can show love in the world than giving up stuff and contributing to the poor, but that's a time-tested Lenten practice. When we seek to show that we're sorry for our sins, we fast, we give alms to the poor, and that ties us in solidarity to them as people who care. So it's good. So anyway, it's a great thing. Here I am, 60, and I'm doing what I did when I was 10, and it's a beautiful practice. Speaking of which, I guess I'm giving away my age tonight, but I've never hidden it. I don't have to fast this year. Can you believe it? I just looked up the fasting rules, and so there's 2 days of fasting, right, in the church year. Ash Wednesday, Good Friday. And the fast is, I looked it up again because I don't want to mislead the flock. You can have, on a day of fasting, you can have 1 full meal and 2 smaller meals that do not add up to a full meal when combined. And no snacking. So 1 regular full meal, 1 small meal, another small meal, but together those 2 small meals can't equal a big whole meal. And no snacking. This doesn't seem too hard. So anyway, I think I'll still do it. But I remember when my dad turned 60, he was like, Thomas, I don't have to fast this year. He was really attuned to the rules, And so fasting is for people 18 to 59. That the church says you got to do it. And then after that, it's optional. So I guess I'm still strong and I should do it. But I thought I would at least have a nice day of communion with my dad in heaven. I believe remembering his glee when he didn't have to fast anymore. So that's good. And then abstinence. I'm not sure how technical they get with what is meat. I know chicken and pork and beef is meat. Fish is not. Seafood's not, like shrimp. So, technically on a day of abstinence, go for it and go have a lobster dinner or something if you can find that in your budget. But, that's not the spirit of the day. The abstinence is to, it's just to not have a food that you'd usually eat, like meat. If you're a vegetarian, maybe go without cheese or something. If you're vegan, maybe go without your favorite vegan dish. So that's coming. That'll be a week from today. So we'll check in during the day of fasting, see how things are going. Parish mission, rice bowl, and we'll collect those rice bowls. Hopefully they'll come in the mail. They said it wasn't too late for us to get them, so hopefully they'll come. 5K race. So Judy and Joe Muir were one of the 2 of the 10 who are down at San Jose Parish, our sister parish in Luquilla, Puerto Rico. And they came back with news that parish is raising money for some renovations, still rebuilding after the devastating Hurricane Maria in 2017. And so they're having a fundraiser to do a 5K run where you give $25 and then you run 5K or walk. And then that goes to help funds. And you get I think 2 things. One thing was a t-shirt. This is a hoodie. You don't get a hoodie. You get a t-shirt that says something about, it'll say, probably be in Espanol, so that'd be kind of cool to have a Spanish t-shirt about San Jose Luquillo and 5K run. And they're going to send us shirts. We're going to tell them how many people register, and they're going to send us shirts. So it's going to be that Saturday, right? Is it? Now I'm listening. I don't have the... Oh, wait a minute. She sent me. It is Saturday, March 29th, 6 p.m. after the 4:30 Mass. Go run or walk 5K. And if you let them know by March 10th, you get a t-shirt and something else. You might even say what it is. Medal. You get a medal. Even if I don't know, is that right to get a medal even if you don't know if you're going to finish? Medals are for winners. We're all a winner. I don't know. But anyway, a t-shirt and a medal. So how about Michaela Schifrin? 100 World Cup victories in skiing. I remember the last Olympics. It was so sad she didn't medal, but that was news this week. So that was good. But anyway, so if you register after March 10th, they can still maybe order you a t-shirt or whatever. But if you register before March 10th, you're going to lock in and get a t-shirt and a medal if you participate. I think I'll do it. I think I got to walk though. Running is not in my quiver, not an arrow in my quiver these days. But let's see. I guess that's that for that. So that's good. You can call the office. Joe and Judy are arranging it. I think their number is in the bulletin. There's a bulletin announcement. You're going to get a newsletter. It's going to go out tomorrow. I think some go out electronically, so you'll probably receive it tomorrow. Others will be sent through the mail, and you'll get it maybe the next day, maybe a few days. But it's got a lot of good stuff in there, including Bishop Battersby's letter about being a devout Catholic and what that means, and whether we should claim it for ourselves ever. Not supposed to claim it for yourself. I agree with him. But he wrote that a few weeks ago, and we didn't get it out. But we're going to get it out in our newsletter. Okay, how are we doing? See, I have all these things. The Pope. So the Pope. I think the best sources that I've seen for news, there's a place called Crux Now, CRUXNOW. cruxnow.com, and it seems to have always a really good up-to-date update on it. And their americamagazine.org has good updates. As far as just secular press, I think the Associated Press, they have a really good correspondent named Nicole Winfield, and she is good. But if you're like me, you've been waking up every morning kind of hoping against hope that you see, Pope's condition has improved, or Saturday was tough. It says critical condition. There's some weakness in the kidneys, and it's like, oh, this is the beginning of the end. And but apparently that kidney thing has been rectified, or it's gotten better. It's not an issue. He's still on oxygen. His blood tests are good. It's the pneumonia that's a little stubborn is still in there. He had a CAT scan. The ambiguous thing in today's report said there's been a normal progression of inflammation in his lungs. So normal sounds good, but progression of inflammation doesn't sound good. But he's sitting up every day. I think almost every day, maybe a couple days this week. He's been meeting with his assistants. He's been doing work. He said someone's going to be a saint. Who is it? Saint Jose Gregorio Hernandez. He'll be the first saint from Venezuela. And he was a doctor in the I think around the turn of the last century, like turn into 1900, or I think he was born in like 1831, or I think he died in 1919. I just read a little about it, and all those facts are just kind of lost in my head now. But that's kind of nice. Venezuela, we've been introduced to Venezuela a little bit this year because of our refugee status families who came, and individuals still in Eau Claire are Derby and Georgie with their daughter, now 1-year-old Natalia, and they got jobs. So the people that hired them were so delighted because they've been looking for people to hire, and so it worked as a win-win situation. And I think they got a vehicle, so they're well on their way to being acclimated, and they sure appreciate our support, especially our support team at St. James that's been with them from the beginning since their arrival. So that's been good. Stations of the Cross. So it's Lent. So next Friday, not this Friday, but if you want to join the students ever, the school puts on a simple but I think beautiful Stations of the Cross at 2:45. I think every Friday when they're in session. That won't be spring break, And actually, no, I think they're back next Friday. This Friday they're not there. But Wayne Rapinski was good enough to come over. I've learned over the years, if you want something that looks right and is straight and is centered and is done well, see if Wayne is free to come on and lend a hand, and he does. So we got some plaques because we added those Stations of the Resurrection. So we have the Stations of the Cross, the plaques that had the Roman numeral, but they didn't have any explanation about like what station it was. And they've been up there, I think, since 1961, since the church. And then last year, 2 years ago, we put up the Stations of the Resurrection, which Wayne also put up, and they look great. And they stand out a little because they're white, which I thought, well, it's too white. But to me, they're wearing well. They match with our banners, our core values, plus white, glory, resurrection. It somehow fits. But those say on it, the ninth station, Thomas confesses his faith by touching the wounds of Jesus. It's not that wordy, but or the first station, Jesus rises from the dead. And those, by the way, those are an ancient, not an ancient tradition, but started in the 70s in Italy, and it's been spreading around the world. The cathedral in San Juan, Puerto Rico, has Stations of the Resurrection. You just see them around the catacombs above ground in a park between the catacombs of San Sebastian and San Callisto. Hope I might not have the wrong names there. There's a park, and they have Stations of the Resurrection. So, it's a thing. And so we put them there. I always feel like it's good balance to have the resurrection as well as the cross, right? So dying and rising. But the Stations of the Cross, of course, are ancient and important. And I thought since the resurrections are there and they're labeled what they are, it might be confusing to the uninitiated. Like, what are these two plaques, and are they the same thing? Are they different? They're different. And so now we have plaques that right under the Station of the Cross that says, Jesus is condemned to death. Simon helps Jesus carry the cross. So enjoy that. I think they really look nice. Thanks to the people from Awards and More for producing such a nice thing. I don't know. Here's my advice getting ready for Ash Wednesday. Ease into it if you want to start exercising more, if you want to start eating less, if you want to give up smoking or sugar intake or prayer. Don't binge on all the bad stuff right up until the day, because then it's harder to cut sugar if the day before you eat 4 Baby Ruths and a couple ice cream cones. So I'm going to try to ease into it myself with the dietary things, and it's about, in the end, I think I mentioned it in something recently, but in the newsletter you'll see it. Bishop Battersby said of the diocese that the Lord wants to give us something, and we got to make sure our hands are empty so we can receive it. I just love that line. It's going to form my land. You'll probably hear me say that a lot these next 40 days plus the next week. He said that in light of the massive reparation that is going to be on March 25th. No, it was. They changed it to March 27th. I'm going to go. If anybody wants to go, let me know. It's a day when the church will basically try to make reparation or express sorrow and contrition and seek forgiveness for its sins. And I don't know if it's going to get much more specific than that or not. He said he had a massive reparation in Detroit where he was for kind of a specific issue of sins, and it was very powerful. And last I heard, he said, I'm not sure exactly what those sins are in the Diocese of La Crosse, but I'm sure we have them, and we want to repent of our sins and make sure our hands are empty so that what the Lord wants to give us we can receive, right? And that's true for us as individuals as well, not maybe so much with sins, but things I cling to, you know. I gotta be on Facebook, or I gotta be on my phone, you know, 10 hours a day. I don't want to miss anything. Well, your hands are full then, aren't you? Your heart is full. Can we leave space for God? It's just one example. Food, whatever. I wanted to mention, it was a prayer. Someone sent me a thing about a prayer. He said, I have a wedding for my daughter. Can you give me a prayer to say? And I'm like, I hope you're watching. I don't mean to insult you, but I always want the bride and the groom to do the prayer. I think it's such a great witness. Like, they're the ones, they're having this Christian wedding. They want to pray. Let's show the people you know how to pray. Show the people that prayer really is important to you. You know, you can do it. So, but anyway, they wanted the dad to do it. So he's going to do it. And he wanted, and I said, well, you know, I think from the heart is good. You know, I just gave him a few guidelines. I know. I mean, if I have a sore foot, I talk to my friend, the physical therapist, and she'll tell me. So I don't mean to sound like, don't ask me how to, because I guess it is my profession. But so I gave him some ideas. You know, I always want to thank God and say some nice things about the bride and groom, and thank God for drawing them together. Ask God to sustain them together in their unity. And I said, when it comes to blessing the food, I like to say, like at the funeral, or any of our events, I like to say, Lord, bless our food. May it nourish. May the time bless our meal. May the time we spend strengthen the bonds of family and friendship among us. And may the food we consume give us strength to serve you well with our time here. You know, as that flowed out of my mouth one day, I said, I kind of like that. I think I'll stick with that. Last thing that's on my list would be this Father. So another thing that there's something about hope. We can talk about that next time. But one of the things the Pope did working, he advanced the cause of sainthood for Fr Emil Kapaun, Kapaun. He's from Kansas. He was in World War II in the Burma area. He was in Korean War, and he died a POW in North Korea. And I think I had a little comic book thing about him that I read sometime in my life, perhaps as a grade school student. But I reviewed his career a little bit. It's really wonderful. It's he risked his life. He would go into the battle areas. He'd celebrate Mass on the hood of the Jeep. He was only 35 years old when he died. He was smoking a pipe one night, and the pipe was shot with a sniper's bullet right out of his mouth. He buried the dead from both sides. He buried North Korean soldiers as well as South Korean and American soldiers. He won the Bronze Star for rescuing a wounded soldier. He wrote letters to the families of the fallen, and he would encourage them when it was true that, I'm sorry your son died. I want you to know that I was able to celebrate the sacrament with him before he died, and he's with God. Things like that, just beautiful. They thought the war was ending, and then China, I didn't know a lot of this Korean War. They thought the war was ending, and then China decided to get involved in the war, and then it got more difficult to win. And so it was during that time, that escalation, that he was captured, marched 100 miles. He was always being of service, foraging for food, collecting sticks for fire, melted snow. It was in the winter, so and he would save. Apparently, he learned how to bend sheet metal as a farm kid or something. He'd do that to hold the water to keep people alive. They'd have to listen to atheist indoctrination by North Korean propagandists when they were prisoners, and they'd mock him, and they didn't like him because he always defended God. He'd say, God is as real as the air you breathe but cannot see, as the sounds you hear but cannot see, as the thoughts and ideas you have but cannot see or feel. God is real, And as he got sick and was dying after he celebrated Easter Mass a few weeks after that, he said, "Don't worry about me. I'm going where I always wanted to go. And when I get there, I'll say a prayer for all of you." So, rooted in the values of eternal life, Fr Emil Kapaun, military chaplain, and on his way to sainthood. So, may we have courageous, good lives, and bless our days as we prepare for Holy Lent. God bless you, everybody.